Check 1, 2. This is a test of the emergency Joel broadcasting system. And we are live. What's up? It's Joel's internet show. And we're doing it again. And again, it'll just keep happening all the time. I love going live. I was just reviewing some stuff on the internet. It's interesting because sometimes I watch that German news because they're kind of starting their morning right now. So they got that morning news, so you can sort of see what the propaganda is all about. But we got a good amount of COVID information going on. We'll just dive right in over here. Here we go.
You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or simply go to our website, dw.com.
Gonna make this a bit faster for us.
The United States leads the world in vaccinations against the coronavirus, but it may not be enough to stop a new surge of infections. President Biden is calling on states to reinstate mask mandates and pleading with people to remain vigilant. Here in Europe, the AstraZeneca shot is becoming the DisasterZeneca saga. Possible side effects prompting Germany to ban the vaccine for all people under the age of 60. As vaccination drives remain slow, the message tonight, better to be safe and late than sick and sorry. I'm Brent Goff in Berlin. This is The Day.
They got tight beats too.
I feel so bad for the people in Europe right now that I hope that they could go rolling out the way we are here.
I feel sort of relieved, and it sort of is exciting. It feels like it's coming to the end of all of this madness finally, now that we're all getting vaccines.
And I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom.
We also have so much to be sorrowful about. Nearly 1,000 Americans a day are still dying from COVID-19. As we approach 550,000 deaths in a single year.
Also coming up, last year Bulgaria's prime minister faced angry protesters demanding an end to his mafia government. This year, the prime minister and government remain. Instead of marching, protesters are heading for the ballot box.
Now, Bulgaria is gearing up for an unprecedented election with new parties and alliances.
But according to the polls, all of them fall short of a parliamentary majority. And then there is voter apathy. Only 45% of all Bulgarians who are eligible to vote have indicated their willingness to do so.
To our viewers on PBS in the United States and to all of you around the world, welcome. We begin the day with the persisting perils
That's what I was
of the
trying
pandemic.
to get to.
Here in Europe, the number of new infections continues to rise at alarming rates. At a French hospital, doctors have now discovered another variant of the coronavirus that may be more resistant to vaccines. Italy is now requiring all visitors coming from European countries to self-isolate for 5 days. And today, Germany banned the AstraZeneca vaccine for people under the age of 60, citing fears over possible side effects. On the other side of the Atlantic, there is more reason to hope and more reasons why that hope may soon be dashed. Despite administering more than 2 million shots per day, the U.S. is facing yet another surge in infections. And it comes as many states lift restrictions, including those all-important face mask mandates. Last night, the dangers facing the U.S. were evident in the face of the woman who leads the Centers for Disease Control. Take a listen.
And I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared. We have come such a long way. 3 historic scientific breakthrough vaccines, and we are rolling them out so very fast. And so I'm asking you to just hold on a little longer, to get vaccinated when you can, so that all of those people that we all love will still be here when this pandemic ends. What we've seen over the last week or so is a steady rise in cases. What we have seen before is that things really have a tendency to surge and surge big. We know that travel is up, and I just worry that we will see the surges that we saw over the summer and over the winter again.
Yeah, the head of the CDC there, obviously very worried about the situation in the U.S. The U.S., we have to say, is one of the world's leading nations when it comes to vaccinations against the coronavirus. Early in the pandemic, the U.S. took a gamble and ordered a large number of vaccines that were in early trials. That gamble paid off. The vaccines turned out to be very effective. Now, the U.S. has a population of 328 million. Already, 20% of adults are now fully vaccinated. That's 52 million people. Now, that includes nearly half of Americans over the age of 65. And to give you a comparison, across the European Union, only 5.3% of adults have received both shots. President Biden expects to have enough vaccine doses available to all U.S. adults in just 3 weeks from now. Biden saying as soon as everyone in the U.S. has had a chance to be inoculated, America will begin sharing its surplus shots with other countries. DW's Oliver Sallet has more.
At a university campus in Los Angeles, U.S. Army soldiers are now fighting an invisible enemy. Their weapons of choice are syringes loaded with the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine.
Some good work out here.
Hello. Hello. Looks like 2 vaccines today. All right, do you have your little card and a photo ID so I can just verify names?
Debbie Scher is about to receive her second shot.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
She is now one of around 50 million fully vaccinated Americans.
Makes me feel grateful that we're here. I mean, of course, we had the worst response, really, initially, and now we're having the best vaccine response. But I feel so bad for the people in Europe right now that I hope that they could go rolling out the way we are here.
The vaccination site at California State University is one of the largest in the U.S. Sergeant Luis Herrera and his comrades, who have been deployed to overseas missions like Afghanistan, are administering up to 8,000 shots per day.
All right, all done. Have a good day. Thanks a lot. I'm very proud to be selected as a member to come out here and do this because at the end of the day, we volunteer to protect our country, to protect the people within it. So if it includes administering vaccines and providing medical care, that's what we do. We're here to accomplish that mission.
The United States have come a long way in this pandemic, from the world's hardest hit country to one of the fastest nations in administering the vaccine. A pragmatic rollout is one reason, a new kind of vaccine nationalism is another one. President Biden vowed that at this pace, there could be enough vaccines for every American by the end of May.
Talk a little bit about
Veronica Verdi of the Federal Emergency Management Agency takes pride in this new cooperation between the U.S. Army, the National Guard, and her own authority.
It is very historic because the federal government, FEMA, has never done a vaccination site. So this is a truly whole government approach. We're working together in partnership to make sure that this runs as smoothly as possible, that people get in and out when they come here, that they're not waiting a very long time, and that their experience is a good one.
While the speedy rollout brings relief for many.
There you go. There's some information from
the virus most likely passed from bats to humans through another animal. Some governments, though, say more could be learned if China provided better access. Beijing has responded by reiterating its criticism of efforts to politicize the pandemic. Katrina Yu is at the market linked to the very first cases of COVID-19.
Weeks after the WHO team completed their mission here in Wuhan, they released this report into their findings. In 120 pages, they detail the thousands of data sets they analyzed, including the first coronavirus cases and local mortality rates. The report doesn't come to any firm conclusions, but it says that the most likely source of the coronavirus is bats or some other wild animal.
Having found other relatively close virus strains to SARS-CoV-2 in the region, also in Southeast Asia in general, where these bats are living, is a strong indication that that's where the source is.
Special attention in the report is given to this location.
That's kind of been the story the whole time. It's like, it was the bat.
Cases of COVID-19 were identified. The team visited this location, although it's been shut for more than a year. Wild animals were sold here, but they found that many of those first cases of COVID-19 were not in fact linked to this market. They also visited a Wuhan government lab on the outskirts of the city and said that it was very unlikely that that lab was the source of the outbreak. However, the WHO Director General himself says that that theory needs to be more thoroughly investigated, and said that members of the WHO team face many difficulties when accessing raw data.
Where we did not have full access to all the raw data we wanted, that has been put as a recommendation for future studies. So the idea is that because we didn't have time, or because certain authorization need to be given before we could get access to this data, all that will be and could be done in the second phase of the studies.
Critics of the WHO mission and the report say that the team was forced to take much of the information provided by the Chinese government at face value. They say that this trip resembled more of a highly curated government tour rather than an independent scientific investigation. Beijing, for its part, denies that it withheld any information from the WHO and says it has cooperated fully with the international community. Beijing has condemned what it says is politicizing of the investigation and called for the WHO to investigate coronavirus outbreaks in other countries.
The White House says there should be a second stage in the WHO study.
The report lacks crucial data, information, and access.
So it seems to be across the board. They're saying they don't have all the information. So obviously it's been a year. So I don't see what other information they're going to be able to get.
Minerals, very high numbers. The cucumber,
Those
or
are
as
my
they call it
favorite
in
videos.
Jamaica, cucumber. Cucumber. Vitamins, minerals, very high numbers. Silica, hair and nails get longer. Other vitamins make your bones them stronger. Anti-wrinkle make you look younger. 95% water. Kidney cleanser, great hydrator. Detox, fiber, good regulator. Give your body good things, don't be a traitor. Get the cucumber, cut it in a slice. Put it in a jug of water overnight. You know what you get for a fraction of the price? Energy drink full of electrolyte. Roaring salad is one of the use as a base for your vegetable juice. Another surprise, put a slice on your eyes, take away the dryness, revitalize. Oh yes. One thing I have left, cucumber can also help with bad breath. Wash away the bacteria that cause the odor. Cucumber water instead of soda. A Maccabee Medical Monday. Cucumber.
I really love that guy and his cucumber rap. Thanks, Chris. Super warm moon. Let's see if I can make that. Still kind of hard to see, but it was pretty bright. Let me see. There's been a bunch of like gaming cockpits on YouTube, flight simulators. Let me see if I can find some more. It's just all this elite dangerous space flight. There it is. This dude built like this. Hold on, let me see if I can find. It's like 270 degree. Let me see here. I guess, I don't know. I don't see it right now, but we'll come back to it. Okay, here's
Ladies
some
and
more weather
gentlemen,
info.
I am happy and grateful, and I just got back from vacation, my first one in like 3.5 years. And I got to tell you, the first time I saw this dust storm coming out of Nevada, I thought, volcanoes. But I think volcanoes a lot. I'm so grateful to Asteroid Fight Club, my family, and everyone else that I got that refresher in before this hurricane season, because I get a feeling, just like everything else, it'll be very active. Oh, and letting you know, over the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to be talking about unidentified flying objects more, because the big disclosure is coming up government-wise, supposedly asterisk hashtag, and this is a cruise ship, so this has been identified. All right, before I start going off on tangents, trying to get up to speed, I'll let everybody know in the South, yep, you guys will be in the danger zone again tomorrow. We're talking Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, Columbus.
We expect that to go back to the $1,500 it used to be. So maybe it'll go to $1,600. But it's not going to stay at $4,000 forever. At least that's, again, and I am projecting what I believe the Fed believes. The Fed speaks in tongue, so you kind of need somebody to interpret the Fed, right? But that's why you have me. And it's also why we have amazing programs on Building Your Wealth linked down below, so I could give you my perspective on breaking things down and translating things in a way that actually is actionable and makes sense. Number 2, yes, asset prices go up and have been going up. Asset prices in stocks and real estate have been going through the moon, but you've also seen alternative assets go through the moon. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoin, the CPI, which stands for solely and strictly, ignoring the wealth effect and ignoring the velocity of money, asset prices going up does not lead to consumer prices going up directly and permanently. Now that's important as well, because what happens when real estate prices go up? Well, more people demand housing. When more people demand housing, housing prices go up. And when housing prices go up, kind of like with the supply chain issues, when you have low supply, what happens? More people want to build homes. That's, again, a perfect example of a capitalistic society, is prices of something go up, it makes more sense to enter an industry and become a builder. It makes more sense to be a contractor, or to be a contractor again and build houses for people. And so what happens now when there is temporarily a surge in demand for building homes? Well, now you have supply chain issues for not just the homes, but also for lumber, copper, sheet metal, concrete, everything, rebar, everything goes up. But that's directly linked to, yes, asset prices going up, but it's a supply chain issue, which again, by definition, a supply chain issue, temporary. So yeah, asset prices in that case can lead to temporary inflation, but that again, temporary, not permanent. Okay, now, and by temporary, generally we mean 3 to 9 months. Under a year is generally deemed to be temporary. Okay. Reason number 3, Kevin believes, the Fed believes, there is no inflation that is going to permanently destruct society. Tech deflation. So, kind of like what I talked about with I am building on said $10,000 plus setup times 3 actually, since I got 3 angles over here. So like I get it, but the point is, even if 20% of people stop buying DSLRs because now they have incredible technology in their phone, that is an example of technology driving the reduction in demand for spending. Technology is making me have to spend less to get the quality of something that I desire, or even if it's 90% quality, technology is leading me to have a substitute to something very expensive. And that is an example of technologically driven deflation. As things become better and faster and stronger, we do not necessarily have to spend as much money. And the easiest example I could think of aside from this camera phone here is back when I sold my World of Warcraft account for $2,000, which technically you're not supposed to do, but I did many, many years ago. That makes me sound old. When I was 16 years old, which was 13 years ago, I used $2,000 to buy myself a Sony Bravia $2,000 TV.
Great, Kevin, you got a lot of money. Jeez. Let's see here.
Famous Chinese YouTuber showcases rural life in China. Everyone loves it, especially Stewart of the Chinese countryside. Although I don't think even Martha Stewart plants and picks her own cotton so she can turn it into a handmade mattress. I mean, who doesn't love picking cotton? Except obviously 500,000 forced laborers in Xinjiang. At any rate, Li Ziqi's videos are beautifully shot and produced, and they're hugely popular around the world. She has more than 27 million followers on Weibo, China's version of Twitter, and she has nearly 15 million subscribers on YouTube, breaking the Guinness World Record for most subscribed Chinese language channel. All this is great, and I mean that for real. She makes great videos. But unfortunately, things are never so simple in communist China. Under China's authoritarian regime, it's not always easy when you get too much publicity. Make one wrong move, and you could be in deep trouble. Like in 2018, when a live streamer was sent to jail for singing China's national anthem in a goofy manner. To be fair, I like her version. At least compared to the official version. Luckily for Li Ziqi, her content is focused on nature. Her only dialogue is with her pets and her grandma, so she's probably safe from politically motivated censorship. In fact, Li Ziqi is more than just safe. Chinese state-run media actively support Li Ziqi's YouTube stardom. Supporters argue that Li has done more to sell Chinese culture than the Confucius Institute, the government-backed soft power promotional organization with a presence in more than 100 countries. Yes, Chinese state-run media absolutely love Li Ziqi. So much
We're going to be
that Lee was
continuing
invited
our
to be the
discussion
promotion
about the
ambassador for
Perseverance
China's
rover
Communist
currently
Youth
on
League.
Mars doing a lot of really
Just in case that
interesting
wasn't
science.
enough,
And in this
People's
video I wanted to
Daily
give you some updates,
programming
including
with
some of the recent pictures published by NASA, because officially the rover has already started scanning and analyzing different rocks, with the next step being the launch of the beautiful helicopter known as Ingenuity sometime in the next month or so, which by itself is going to be super exciting and also is going to be one of the bigger achievements of this mission. But let's start with some of the better pictures that NASA released in the last few weeks. And let's start right here with an aerial overview of where the rover landed in the location that's now referred to as the Octavia E. Butler landing site. And in the last few weeks, NASA was able to locate all of the parts, including the parachute, the descent stage, the heat shield, and show us exactly where they are now and where they landed. And in case you were wondering and wanted to see where the rover is in comparison to everything else, NASA's free application known as Eyes on the Solar System allows you to see exactly where the rover has landed and even takes you through some of the other missions here as well. And in the last few weeks, the rover has already started rolling around, having finished all of its major testing, and is thus now ready to start its journey across the Martian fields. Right now, NASA is planning to take this particular path you see on the screen, which will help the rover investigate several different ancient environments that, according to NASA, could have been once habitable. The rover is going to start at the cliffs defining the base of the delta produced by an ancient river, and the path will then take the rover up across the delta toward a possible ancient shoreline deposits. It's also going to attempt to climb up the 2,000 feet or 600 meter high rim of the crater, and is then going to try to explore the surrounding plains. All of this should take approximately 1 Martian year, or possibly about 2 Earth years. And just to give you a bit of a comparison here, the crater in the middle is roughly around 1 kilometer or about 0.6 miles in diameter. And as it's traveling around and as it's essentially crossing all of these locations, it's going to be using a device known as Planetary Instrument for X-ray Lithochemistry, also known as PIXL. And here's a device that allows PIXL to change the angle of the imager to get the best possible results from various rocks it's going to be scanning. And a lot of new images NASA has been releasing in the last few weeks look so much better than any previous mission. They look much crisper, they have a lot more color, and I was actually trying to figure out how they were able to achieve this, because normally in photography, at least for the color balance, you need to somehow set it up. And interestingly, on top of the rover, NASA engineers placed a few calibration targets with specific predefined colors and contrast that a lot of these cameras use to calibrate images and adjust for various changes such as brightness, in case, for example, a sudden dust storm or some other event occurs in the vicinity. There's even a website about this camera known as Mastcam-Z that tells us a little bit more about the details of the technique and also about the cameras used and how such incredibly high quality images are produced by the rover no matter what the light conditions are on the surface. And Mastcam-Z already allowed the rover to produce a very beautiful, very high quality 360-degree panorama shot that's over 200 megabytes in size, and you can actually go and download this yourself, which will allow you to see the surrounding area in extremely high detail. It was produced by taking individual shots and combining all of them into one large mosaic. And here you can kind of even see how the rover was able to produce all of this by essentially adding up every individual picture one after another. This allowed it to create an extremely accurate and very rich in color shot of the surrounding area, which allowed the NASA scientists to first of all plan the pathway that the rover will be taking in the next few weeks, but also allowed the scientists to identify certain interesting features on the ground, such as certain rocks they would like to take a look at, which the scientists have already started to explore in the last few days. Here's one of many rocks that NASA identified. This one here is a wind carved rock that's only about 2 feet in diameter, something that tells us about how inhospitable and how extremely windy conditions on Mars can get once the dust storms begin. There's also this really interesting shot of what seems to be a fan-shaped deposit, and this is very likely a sediment of what's known as a delta or river delta. This is very likely where an ancient river was entering into an ancient lake inside the Jezero crater on Mars. And this is also the location where the rover is planning to go in the future. Now, NASA also released this interesting video showing us the virtual visualization of the first attempt to move the rover, and this basically showed us the first steps of Perseverance on Mars, with the actual tracks visible afterwards as well. And following the initial analysis of the panorama picture, NASA scientists decided that there are 2 possible paths the rover can take in the next few weeks. In this picture you can see them in blue and in purple. But eventually the rover is going to end up very close to the delta I showed you previously, and it's going to start heading there sometime in the next few weeks.
Oh, no. I think I'm going to have to do vertical. Okay, Bobby, I don't know if you're going to do this that much. That's what you guys do.
From a few dozen to several hundred pictures, all of which are available in the link you can find in the description below. And though some of the cameras like the NavCams are going to produce better quality images, some of the other cameras like the HazCams or hazard cameras are also going to be very useful in finding things that other cameras cannot see. But on the way to the Delta, the mission is going to essentially stop at pretty much every rock like you see right here that was done recently, and it's going to use its pixel camera to try to analyze various rocks for composition in order to discover the history of Mars and also possible signs of previous life here. The way this is done is by taking different views of the same rock, which will usually produce something like this. This is an example of another rock the NASA scientists currently refer to as Ma'az, which in Navajo language means Mars. And then by analyzing this with a camera such as the SuperCam, the scientists can determine the origin and other features of these rocks. In this case, this particular rock has been discovered to be basaltic in composition, and it's also most likely a volcanic rock in origin, consisting of different fine grains of igneous material that was cemented over time in some sort of a watery environment, once again showing us that the water was flowing through this region. But the most exciting part in the next few weeks is going to be the Ingenuity Mars helicopter. Only a few days ago, the protective cover or the debris shield was released from the rover. This was protecting the helicopter during the landing. And now the helicopter is going to try to rotate down and assume a position necessary for a vertical takeoff. The Ingenuity helicopter is going to attempt its test flight sometime in the next 30 days. And the engineers have already added different locations and different parameters for this test flight, including the so-called airfield, or the area where the helicopter is going to be flying, along with the potential flight zone, all of which will be documented by one of the cameras.
Something like this was coming. Over 2 months ago, February 2nd, I posted this video. 100K per Bitcoin in 2021, Visa and Coinbase USDC plan on it. So that 100K BTC prediction and call seems not too crazy right now. But back when I did it, February 2nd, people were calling me crazy. And that's because BTC was a lot lower, below 35K. But now let's just replay what I said back then to conclude that video. Through our work with TransferWise, we've created a blueprint for other fintechs to quickly and securely connect with Visa's massive scale and reach. Other fintechs like Coinbase, they are a fintech. Circle Fintech USDC fintech product. A stablecoin integrated with Visa globally, just as a Coinbase IPO rolls around? Chico thinks so. Cheers, I'll see you next time. Called it spot on like Donkey Kong, so all Chico has to say is, well, who's the crazy one now? From the Business Wire article, they say, Visa today announced a major industry first in bridging the worlds of digital and traditional fiat currencies. The use of USD Coin, USDC, a stablecoin backed by the US dollar, to settle a transaction with Visa over Ethereum. Visa is piloting the capability with Crypto.com and plans to offer the USDC settlement capability to additional partners later this year. They are achieving this in collaboration with Anchorage Bank for settlements. So that is what is known. That is the public news, but Chico Crypto does it differently than most. We discover what necessarily isn't known. And to uncover that, we need to realize who Visa's chosen stablecoin is built by, USDC. Everyone knows about Coinbase, the big dogs with IPO soon. On their website, they say it's a stablecoin by Coinbase. But there's another half of this coin, those in partnership with both the base and Visa to make it happen. Circle, who is led by Jeremy Allaire. What did Circle launch just 2 days before the Visa USD announcement? Well, PR Newswire covered it with an article titled, Circle Launches Comprehensive NFT Platform and Marketplace Payment Solution. The article states, Circle today also unveiled forthcoming features that will be made available over the coming months, including support for USDC, BTC, and ETH payments, NFT custodial services, and yield-generating Circle accounts for NFT market operators. Now, why could this tie right into Visa? Well, Coy Sheffield, who is head of crypto at Visa, has been tweeting suspiciously lately. Of course, about the big USDC and Ethereum news for Visa, but also retweeting Jeremy, Circle CEO, on multiple occasions and commenting with rocket ships. But then, what else has old Coy been tweeting and retweeting? NFTs, saying fantastic breakdown on NFTs from Nick Carter, and no, not Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys, a writer for CoinDesk. He also gave a breakdown of an interesting application for brands and communities. NFTs are a new public permissionless and pseudonymous CRM customer relationship management system. Literally, his entire Twitter is filled with NFTs, NF that, NF this, and even giving a talk on NFTs March 11th titled The Evolution of Crypto from Bitcoin to NFTs. So wouldn't you say it's just convenient? Circle just launched their comprehensive NFT platform, which will have full support for USDC. Convenient, yes. So I might want to be looking at those NFT projects connected to this Circle. On Circle's website on NFTs, they show their first NFT partner, who I've covered before, Dapper Labs, and their Flow blockchain powering NBA Top Shots with USDC. That may be new for some, but most of us here on the channel have known that. Is Circle connected to any other NFT project? Well, scrolling down on their website with NFTs, they have a news link section. Last week, Circle sponsored an NFT hack. Clicking into that, maybe some of the co-sponsors just might have a tie. The sponsor that sticks out to me is Rarible. Why? Well, going to the hackathon timeline, we can see how to use the Rarible protocol as a second workshop, even before Circles. Then on Saturday, they were the #1 workshop. Thus, many of the hackathon projects out of the 178 submitted were built with Rarible. I wonder if Rarible has any ties to Circle. Well, not directly, but kind of. Remember, USDC from Circle is created in collaboration with Coinbase. What happened in early February? Rarible raised some seed round funding, which was joined by none other than Coinbase.
It's kind of hard to follow Chico Crypto, but he's always got like information that nobody else has. I don't know, it's crazy. There's got to be some other cryptocurrency gurus out there. If you know about any, let me know in the comments. You know, we'll check it out. Michigan sees
turn our attention now to Michigan. That is where coronavirus cases are increasing at an alarming rate. Hospitalizations rising over 600% just in the last month for patients between the ages of 30 and 50. We want to bring in now Michigan's Chief Medical Executive and member of the Biden-Harris administration's COVID-19 Health Equity Task Force, Dr. Jonay Khaldun. Dr. Khaldun, first of all, happy Doctor's Day to you as well. And let's start with what is happening there in Michigan and what is driving these numbers up.
Well, thank you for having me on the show today. I'm very concerned about what we're seeing in the state of Michigan. We've seen over the past 5 to 6 weeks a significant increase in our cases. Our hospitalizations are going up as well. And we are seeing that younger people, ages 10 all the way up through 60, are getting sick, and many of them are also being hospitalized. So we're very concerned about what we're seeing on the ground.
Well, certainly concerned there, but what do you think is driving it?
I think there's several things. I think some folks are just a little tired of what we've been doing for over a year now. I know some people are perhaps tired of wearing their mask. People are gathering, and we also know of several outbreaks associated with sports teams as well.
There are a lot of states, Michigan among them, that have loosened restrictions. And at this point, it doesn't appear that Governor Whitmer wants to lock down again, if you will. Not maybe a full lockdown, but want to kind of leave things open. Do you, as you see it, in your professional opinion, think that we need to put, and the state needs to put some restrictions maybe back in place?
I think everyone in Michigan really needs to double down right now. We know what it takes to bring our surge down. Michigan has done this before. Michigan actually, by and large, missed the post-holiday surge that a lot of other states saw. And we did that by wearing masks, getting tests when we were exposed or symptomatic. And those are the exact same things that we're really doubling down on now as well. I'll also say I'm really pleased with the way our vaccinations are rolling out. More than 4.1 million doses in arms. More than 2/3 of Michiganders over the age of 65 have gotten at least one dose. So I'm really pleased with that. We just have to even more so be laser focused on our vaccination efforts as well.
And Dr. Khaldun, I mentioned in the introduction to you that you are on the COVID-19 Health Equity Task Force for the Biden administration. Where is your work? I know you're supposed to be giving recommendations, but are some of those going to help us through this pandemic, or is the idea to make sure we don't have some of these equity issues down the road?
Well, I'm certainly honored to be on President Biden's Health Equity Task Force with such amazing colleagues. So absolutely, we are currently looking at what recommendations could be put in place now to be able to address the pandemic today, but also recommendations that could improve the public health response to future pandemics as well. So really, really excited, and we are looking closely at what recommendations we should be putting forward.
July 4th, some sense of normalcy is what President Biden is going for. Is that possible, July 4th now?
I certainly do think it's possible. Again, our vaccines are rolling out very well across the country. Here in Michigan, everyone will be eligible to be vaccinated on April 5th. So really pleased with how vaccinations are rolling out. If everyone does their part, wear your mask, get tested, and of course, get your vaccine, we can have more of a sense of normalcy. And absolutely, I'm confident that we can do that by July 4th, as the president said.
Dr. Jonay Khaldun, ma'am, thank you so much for being here. Good luck to you all. We hope we can check in with you.
We'll see what happens. This protest over here in India. I don't know who Modi is. It kind of makes me want to find out. From Pakistan. Oh, the Pakistani Prime Minister. Or wait. Okay. So the PM is Khan, and then I guess the Prime Minister of India is Modi? Desires peaceful relations. That sounds good. That sounds like a good thing. you know. Let me see here. Replied to a letter written by his counterpart Modi saying Pakistan desires peaceful relations. Blah, 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 blah. An environment of trust. Modi's letter apparently said India desires cordial relations. They've fought 3 wars and have shared a fractious relationship since the two gained independence from Britain in 1947. Tensions rose as they sent combat aircraft into each other's territory in 2019. They're disputing the Himalayan territory. Okay, well, so they're fighting over land. The Himalayas. It's pretty important to both of them. Maybe they could work together and both benefit. Probably not. I'm sure no one wants war. India going to war with China or Pakistan would probably be really bad for everybody. Let me see what else we got going on. Yeah, let's learn more.
Hey everyone, meet Heaven here. Joe Biden and the Biden administration have just teased what is going to be in part 1 of Joe Biden's infrastructure package being revealed part 2. Electric vehicle manufacturing in America. Also, money going towards the grid, broadband, water, $400 billion, folks, in clean energy credits, which would essentially go towards things like electric vehicle chargers, electric vehicles, solar energy, maybe battery backups for your house as well. Huge amount of money towards credits. Now, there is also likely going to be an aggressive deadline from the Biden administration of getting basically all new electric vehicles, or all vehicles, completely carbon-free by 2035. Now, we've seen some states implement deadlines like this before.
I wonder what that kid
like California being one of them. China has said they've had a goal like this. But really, this transition to electric vehicles is potentially going to take somewhere around, 30, 35 years from now. This could really be a between now and 2050 endeavor. And that's because even in 2035, there's still going to be gas-powered vehicles on the road. They're not all going to vanish because, well, people have cars. And they don't necessarily have to get rid of them, right? Now, there are going to be, or the expectation is, the incentives for electric vehicles in this plan are going to be huge. This is one of the reasons, folks, we've been doubling down in either the programs linked down below on the stock market or in my live streams. We've been double and tripling down on electric vehicles because this is the start of a 35-year transition. This is not just here today, gone tomorrow. Like this is huge. And so Biden is really seeking to push incentives to make this happen.